Perfect night for baseball in downtown Minneapolis, and the Twins and the Royals resume their three-game series at Target Field, with the Twins trying to bounce back from last night's loss. The Twins-Royals series is brought to you by North Dakota Tourism. Start your journey at NorthDakotaLegendary.com. Last night, Minnesota scored 4 times on a season-high 12 hits. Trevor Plouffe and Joe Mauer each had 3 hits for the Twins. Plouffe snapping a 0 for 16. Mauer breaking out of a 14-game drought. Included in that was a home run for Mauer last night. With Jack Morris, I'm Anthony LePanto. The home run for Mauer came on the first pitch he saw in his first at bat. He doesn't swing at first pitches very often, to say the least. In fact, it was his first hit on a first pitch swing all season long. Over the last 10 seasons, he only swings about 10% of the time at the first pitch. Could he be a more difficult out if he was more aggressive early in the count?
I think it could work to his advantage at this point in his career, because the entire league knows that Joe Mauer will take, and he's not afraid to hit deep in counts. With that being said, they're usually throwing a lot of hittable pitches early in the game because they want to get ahead of him when they're on the mound. And Joe Mauer knew that last night. He got a very hittable pitch, that first pitch, and he hit it into the seats in left field. A guy that I faced was just like that, Wade Boggs. For 5 years, this guy never swung at the first pitch. And when he started swinging at the first pitch, it kind of messed me up a little bit, because all of a sudden now I don't have a game plan of how to get ahead of him. I've got to figure out something that's going to be nasty that first pitch, and I found myself falling behind quite a bit. That worked to his advantage because he was a better hitter when he was ahead in the count than when the pitcher was ahead in the count. And I think Joe could fall into the same kind of category. If he just start, and I'm not saying every pitch, it's got to be a hittable pitch, but if it's a strike that he can handle, go ahead and take a whack at it.
Mauer's had good numbers when he does swing at the first pitch. He's a .420 hitter in those situations. Tonight, Minnesota's in need of a stopper, a starting pitcher to go out and snap the losing streak. Could Ervin Santana be that guy? We'll find out next.
North is presented by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. By Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine, for the everyday competitor in all of us. Another beautiful night at Target Field, Game 2 between the Twins and the Royals. A year and a half ago, the Twins won the bidding war for Ervin Santana. The other bidder, the Kansas City Royals, and they signed Edison Valquez because they could not sign Ervin Santana. And tonight, the two right-handers will square off against one another. Dick and Bert with you from Target Field for Game 2 of this series. And Ervin Santana, of course, a year ago wasn't even pitching for the Twins because of the suspension, but he's turned out to be their best free agent pitching signing in many years.
Yeah, he's coming off 2 very good starts. We all know it's hard for a starter of the Twins to get a win. Ervin Santana, 2 starts ago in Cleveland, got his first win. Now, he spent some time on a disabled list with a sore lower back, but over his last 2 starts, covering 14 innings, only 3 earned runs allowed. And by the way, his last start against the Toronto Blue Jays, he went 8 innings, so first starter to do that. Hopefully he can repeat that here today.
There aren't many good offensive catchers in the major leagues these days, and Kansas City's Salvador Perez last night showed off his hitting skills. He got a triple, one of his 5 hits.
Unbelievable night for Perez. This guy has enjoyed hitting against the Twins, and especially here at Target Field. He came up in 2010. It's almost like when he comes into town, this ballpark was built for him.
He has pitched for the Kansas City Royals, and he has pitched well against them. And tonight, the Twins hand the ball to Ervin Santana, hoping to even the series at a game apiece.
That guy, he is
magic. Magic.
El Magic.
You know, when he takes the mound, he's, you know, one of the better competitors.
Steady, workhorse, and works his butt off.
An absolute bulldog on the mound.
He just comes right at you, and, you know, whatever he has that day, he figures out a way to get the job done.
We know every time he has the ball, you know, we got a really good chance to win the game.
In a half season last year, Santana won 7 games, lost 5, had an ERA of 4, and pitched over 100 innings. And the Twins are hoping that all those numbers will double in 2016. The problem is the Twins don't have a starting pitcher with so much as their second win yet, and Santana will try to get that tonight. Ned Yost has had it going the last few years. Back-to-back World Series appearances. They look very formidable again this year. They're dealing with some injuries right now, so the Menards batting order looks a little different. Alcides Escobar leading off. Whit Merrifield is at second. Lorenzo Cain in center. Eric Hosmer at first. Kendrys Morales, the designated hitter. Salvador Perez, the catcher. Paulo Orlando is in right field with Mike Moustakas hurt. Chesler Cuthbert will get the start and hit 8th. And with Alex Gordon hurt, Gerard Dyson will start in left field and hit 9th.
And it'll be 33-year-old Ervin Santana making his 8th start of the season. His second against the Royals. No decision against the Royals back on April 8th in Kansas City, but he pitched a good ball game, a quality start, 6 innings, only 2 earned runs allowed.
A strike. Spent some time on the shelf with a back issue, but he's made 7 starts. Hasn't given up more than 3 earned runs in any start this year. Down low, and it's 1-1.
Santana pitched for the Royals back in 2013 when he worked 211 innings in 32 starts. Had a good 3.24 ERA.
That's to center field. And Santana comes in a few steps, makes the catch, 1 away.
Well, Santana is nothing all about subtracting and adding. I usually say adding and subtracting, but I'm doing the reverse today.
That's good. Pitching backwards, right? He's pitching backwards. Northland Ford defense for the Twins. Grossman again in left. Danny Santana in center. Oswaldo Arcia in right field. Sano's the DH. Blue Escobar, Nunez, Mauer the infielders, and Juan Centeno behind the plate. 1 away, and now Whit Merrifield. And a strike.
Merrifield started at third base in last night's ball game, picked up a couple hits. Here tonight he starts at second base, picked up his first extra base hit with a double in his 3rd at bat.
And fouled off of Centeno and back to the screen. 0-2. Santana made a start in Kansas City in the first road trip of the season. His first start, of course, in Baltimore, 2 innings. The rain came. Really wasn't much of a start, but the Twins couldn't bring him back after the rain delay of more than an hour. And then he had 6 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs in Kansas City. 1-2.
Yeah, Twins ended up losing that ball game 4-3 late. In that ball game, a couple walks, 7 strikeouts. And Santana against his former teammates and the Kansas City Royals has had some success. This is his 18th career start against the Royals. He's got 5 wins, 1 complete game, 1 shutout. Santana not a big man, 6 foot tall, about 175, 6'1", somewhere in that range. Working off the first base side of that pitching rubber.
And missing inside, 2-2.
th major league season for Santana. 127 major league wins.
And he gets a swinging strikeout. Centeno steps across the plate to complete the strikeout. 2 down.
That's 33rd strikeout in 38 innings pitched for Santana. So he went to the breaking ball, and Merrifield, you see the tight rotation of that. That ball wasn't even close, but Merrifield swings through it. Missed that by not a foot, but a yard.
Lorenzo Cain will bat. Mark Carlson will call balls and strikes tonight. Jeff Kellogg, John Tumpane, Alan Porter on the bases.
Carlson's been umpiring a long time. This is his 18th season in the big leagues.
Cain's had a hard time making contact against Santana. 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts. And Santana gets ahead 0-1. 1-1.
Yeah, last night was last night, but the Kansas City Royals put up 17 hits and 10 runs. That's a season high for the Royals in hits and runs in a ball game. So maybe they're tired.
2-1.
And that man right there, Perez, had 5 of the 17 hits.
And that's flared foul down the right field line, 2-2. It's remarkable, you know, here we are almost done with the month of May and no Twin starter has more than one win. Santana got his 2 starts ago in Cleveland and had a good outing against the Blue Jays, 8 innings and just 2 earned runs allowed. But that game went 11 innings and the Blue Jays won it 3-2. Foul back to the screen. And Tyler Duffy has 1 win. He'll go for his 2nd win tomorrow at noon.
One thing Santana does when he is on, he will work all 4 corners of the plate. He'll work down and away, down and in, up and away, change speeds. And Kane hasn't figured him out yet.
3-2 with Hosmer on deck. Games in a row on the road with a hit, at least one.
See if he throws an off-speed pitch here.
Fastball drilled to the right field corner, and Arcia goes into a slide, the ball to the corner, and Kane will have a double. Just out of the reach of Arcia, and Kane finally has a hit against Irvin Santana.
Well, he went with a fastball, and Kane inside out swing continues to swing a hot bat on the road. Arcia unable to get that. Probably would have been a double anyway as it hit high off the wall. And for Kane, that's his 5th double of the year.
And now Hosmer with 2 gone and a man at second. Down and in, ball 1.
Hosmer putting together a very good year. 8 home runs, 21 runs batted in, 8 doubles, a triple, hitting .307.
High pop up behind first. Mauer with the catch, and Hosmer's retired. Kane left at second, and Santana has a scoreless top of the 1st. And then put together some winning months yet this year. The Menard batting order for game 2 with the Royals: Eduardo Nunez, then Joe Mauer, Miguel Sano, Trevor Plouffe, Robbie Grossman, Oswaldo Arcia, Eduardo Escobar, Juan Centeno, and Danny Santana.
And the keys to the game from Tom Bernansky, the hitting coach, about Edison Volquez, be ready for the changeup. That's his best pitch. Curveball's a bonus. He can get you out on 2 pitches, a sinking fastball, and then wear him down. He's not going to come right at you, says Tom Berdansky. He forces you to get yourself out, so force him into longer counts, wear him down as much as possible so he can get ahead early and get him out. So you don't have to face that bullpen late in the ball game. You want to face it early.
Nunez takes a couple pitches, 2-0. He's 3 for 3 in his matchups against Volquez. Mauer and Sano will follow. And a strike on the outside corner.
Yeah, Volquez has a good fastball in the low 90s, that hard slurve curve that, like Bruno said, his changeup's his best pitch, so it keys off the fastball.
Chopper on 1 hop. Chesler Cuthbert is there. He fires to Hosmer, 1 away. Royals out in the field. A few holes to patch. Brought to you by Northland Ford. Dyson patching the hole in left. Kane in center. Orlando in right. Cuthbert patching a hole at third. Merrifield over to second. Escobar turned in an outstanding play last night. There at short again. Hosmer at first, and Perez behind the plate.
Yeah, only the Baltimore Orioles have made fewer errors than the Kansas City Royals. Orioles with 18, Royals with 19 errors on the year.
Mauer takes a strike. Hit pretty much the same pitch over the fence and left in his first at bat yesterday. Talking with him before batting practice, and said you just wanted to get that pitch struck to left field before the Royals subbed Alex Gordon, got him back in the field. You got the fastest guy in the league, Dyson, and he's about 35 feet from the line. 2 strikes to Mauer. I don't know if you got a good look, but my goodness.
Yeah.
Paulo Orlando in right center field.
Look at all that room right down in that right field corner, or even right there to the U.S. Bank.
I mean, if he gets a ground ball between Hosmer and Merrifield, he has a double. He doesn't have to hit a hooking line drive into the corner. Up high, 2-2.
And Joe, very good numbers against Volquez. Eight hits and 19 at bats, a .421 batting average with a home run.
And a liner to Escobar. Mauer hits it hard. The shortstop for out number 2. And that'll bring up Sano. Sano, the designated hitter. Byung-Ho Park getting another day off as the Twins hope to get his bat going. Park coming to the ballpark for some early work.
Yeah, he and Brian Dozier worked a lot with Tom Berdansky over the last couple days. I'll show you some of that a little bit later.
Strike 1 to Sano. Swing and a miss. 0-2.
There's a good changeup right there.
Looked like Sano was waiting for it, though. He wasn't out in front of it. He just swung and missed.
Well, what makes a good changeup is the arm speed. It looks like a fastball coming out, and it's about 10 miles an hour slower than the fastball.
And a swing and a miss, a strikeout of Sano, and a 1-2-3 first for Edison Volquez. scoreless first, and now tonight's Carsoup.com trivia question: who are the 2 Royals catchers to record 5 hits in a game?
Can we say Drew Butera? We could say it, can't we?
We can. Does Drew have 5 hits with the Royals? Could they have all come in one game?
I'm sure between last year and this year he has.
He doesn't get a chance to play much.
No.
1-0, and Morales fouls it back. Well, years ago, John Wathen, who was the backup catcher for the Royals, he and I had a thing going. I was living in Cedar Rapids, Iowa at the time, and every time I came down, and that's where John was from, Cedar Rapids. So I would come down regularly in 1980 to do feature stories on John Wathen and the Kansas City Royals. And every time I came, 3 or 4 times that year, he got 4 hits in a game. So I'm going to say he's one of them. That maybe in one of those games he got 5 hits. Missing, and it's 3-1.
I'm going to say Jason Kendall.
Okay, Darryl Porter would be another one.
Yeah.
3-1 to Morales, and a swing and a miss. 3-2.
Yeah, these 2 guys, Santana and Morales, they were teammates, not here in Kansas City, but with the Angels. Teammates from 2006 to 2010.
Full count. Perez and Orlando to follow, and a walk will put Morales at first. And that'll bring up Perez, who got 5 hits, had a chance to complete the cycle, but he was raking last night.
Yes, he was. The Twins allowed him to keep opening up and utilizing those big arms that he has. You see, though, he likes to extend and get that ball out over the plate. So we'll see if Irvin Santana can maybe throw some pitches hard into him and make him move his feet a little bit.
Popped up.
So the first pitch, outer half of the plate, and he fouls it off.
1 strike.
Santana has that 2-seamer that will run in on right-handed hitters.
And now the target's inside. Hit high and deep to center. And Santana back, getting turned around, and that ball's gone.
Well, you have to hit your spots if you're going to go in. And Santana making a mistake and paying the price. And Salvador Perez, he has really loved hitting here at Target Field. My, oh my.
Hardly an opponent comes through here without somebody who doesn't love to hit here.
Well, location. The ball was down, but again, you can see that Perez, his strength, making great contact, taking that ball straight away center.
See, the target was down and in, and it was down right over the middle of the plate. So a quick 2-0 lead for Kansas City, and now Paulo Orlando.
Well, the notes say that would be his 10th home run hit here at Target Field since 2010.
He's got a few to go to catch Bautista. Swing and a miss.
For Santana, that's just his 4th home run allowed.
And a base hit to left. Santana's faced 7 men and retired just 3 of them. And that'll bring us to Chesler Cuthbert. Mike Moustakas suffered an injury in his collision with Alex Gordon on Sunday. Gordon's on the disabled list, and Moustakas isn't there yet, but unable to play last night, was scratched from the original lineup and not in the lineup again tonight. Fastball inside, ball 1.
That's the pitch you wanted to throw to Perez right there. Orlando at first base, a couple stolen bases in 2 attempts.
Down low. 2-0. popped up right side. Retreating is Nunez. And he'll give way to Arcia. One away. And that'll bring up Dyson. Target Field is a great place to spend time with the people who are important to you. Groups are eligible for discounts on tickets, and per ticket fees are eliminated. So organize your group of 25 plus today. You can learn more by visiting twinsbaseball.com/groups or call 800-33-TWINS and ask about a Twins Target Field group outing. Here's Gerard Dyson with one down.
Yeah, Trevor Plouffe in on the grass. Take the bunt away from this guy.
Paul Molitor, throughout this terrible start to a season, has talked about the Twins' inability to deal with adversity, early adversity. There's a snap throw to first, and diving back safely is Orlando. Centeno throwing behind the left-handed batter. And what the manager's talking about starts like this. You know, there have been so many times when the Twins starter has given up the first couple, 3 runs. On the outside corner, 1-1.
Well, it's tough sometimes as an everyday player. You know, you see this night after night. You always have to fight back to win a ball game. Not too often a starter for the Twins went out and put 3 or 4 zeros on the board at the beginning of the ball game.
When they've done that, almost invariably the Twins have played a competitive game, and you're not going to win all of those. We talk up here, well, they wasted a good pitching performance by so on and so forth. There's a bunt. That's a good one.
Yep.
Santana fires and got Dyson. Very nice play, advancing Orlando to second base.
You almost sense every time that Dyson is up, there's a possibility that he might bunt and utilize his speed. That ball bunted nicely, but Ervin Santana, very good athlete. Of course, they are the best athlete on the field. Remember that, folks. But you see, just laying down that ball, and Santana has to barehand it and all in one motion get it over to Mauer.
2 down, a runner at second, 2 runs in, and here's Alcides Escobar. Even the Royals, when they get a good start, play a competitive game. They don't win all those games. The key for the Twins, they need to play more of those, and then you'll hope to win your share or more than your share of those, and things will start turning around. But it's tough when it's, you know, 2-0, 3-0 after the first inning. 1 strike to Escobar. And down the middle, a strike, 0-2. And a strikeout of Escobar to end the inning, but a walk to Morales started it. Then Perez went deep to center, and the Royals jump out 2-0. Salvador Perez. And the Royals have a 2-0 lead with Trevor Plouffe leading off the bottom of the inning. Plouffe, Grossman, and Arcia.
Trevor had a good night last night, had 4 very good at-bats, picked up 3 hits. Also that deep fly ball to right field that was caught.
Outside, ball 1.
Trevor 4 hits and 12 at-bats against Volquez. Volquez in his 2nd season with the Royals. Be a free agent at the end of the year, as he was when he came to the Royals back in December of 2014 when he signed a 2-year contract. Does have an option. The Royals have an option for him for next year if they want to pick it up.
1-1. Tap foul. I would guess they'd pick that up. This doesn't strike me as a Kansas City team or organization that's deep in starting pitching, but it's easy for me to spend somebody else's money too.
Oh, let's do it.
Should we?
Yeah.
It's more fun.
Sure. You have the credit card?
1 and 2. That's to right, and Orlando has to run to the corner, but he gets there for the catch. 1 away. Let's find Audra Martin someplace here at Target Field.
Guys, as Robbie Grossman comes to the plate, this is a guy who's been a bright spot for the Twins lately, and because of it, it's a career first for him tonight. He's hitting in the 5 spot for the first time in his 4-year career. Now, earlier today, Paul Molitor said with a smile that you don't make a splash when you sign Robbie Grossman, but even so, he's been very impressed with him. He says it's all about his professionalism. He says that, yes, that's a word that's overused when describing guys, but he says that fundamentally he's very sound in the field. He knows the strike zone, and he's still getting to know him as a person, but professionally and as a player, he's very glad to have him here in Minnesota.
And he started off well. We showed you the 6 for 12 in his at-bats, a couple doubles, a home run. Switch hitting outfielder.
When Paul was talking about Grossman, he specifically mentioned Grossman backing up a play as a left fielder on an overthrow at third last night.
Good change up there.
Showing awareness and where he was supposed to be. Tom Bernansky says by the time they get ready to discuss that night's starting pitcher, Grossman's already done his homework. He's prepared. He knows what his plan will be against tonight Edison Volquez. 1 and 2, and a deep drive to right near the pole, and foul.
That changeup left in right there, and Grossman turned on it and just hooked that foul by a little bit. Volquez has allowed 6 home runs. See the changeup right into that zone that left-handers like it, down and in. Mistake pitch he got away with.
1 and 2. And now up and away, 2 and 2.
Volquez, 32 years old. This is his 10th start, second against the Twins here tonight.
And a breaking ball got him.
Second strikeout for Volquez.
Grossman frozen at the plate, 2 away, and here is Oswaldo Arcia.
Well, good curveball right here. Straight over the top. And Perez holding it.
Twins pulling Sano into the DH spot, opening up right field for Arcia, who's seen most of his time in the left, some in right. Outside, ball 1. Byron Buxton playing center in Rochester. He's been hitting well. He hit a home run in his first at bat tonight, but Max Kepler was put on the disabled list with a groin strain. So while Buxton figures to be called up perhaps soon, here's a ball down the right field line and a fair ball. And Arcia will round first, dig for second. Here's the throw, and Arcia has a double into the right field corner with 2 down.
Yeah, good hustle by Arcia right there. You want to try to get into scoring position Orlando very quick of foot out in right field. Looked like maybe he had a little trouble getting that ball. We can't really see it from our angle here behind home plate, but good sinking fastball. Arcia pulling it right down that right field line. Yep, you see Orlando took his eye off of the baseball for a little bit, juggled it. That allowed Arcia to get into second safely. Second double for Arcia on the season.
And now Eduardo Escobar.
Escobar just activated off the disabled list. Picked up a couple hits in last night's ball game.
Flip foul over the tarp, 1 strike.
Got a base hit as a left-handed hitter and a right-handed hitter.
And time called at the plate. Turning into a gorgeous night here. Clouds are departing. We're going to have clear skies, I think, in very short order over the ballpark. Nice pickup by Perez, 1-1. It is U of M night here tonight. President Eric Kaler threw out a ceremonial first pitch. Today it was announced that John Anderson, the unanimous pick as the Big Ten Baseball Coach of the Year. Congratulations to John and the Gophers for winning the Big Ten title.
Yes, in their program.
1-1 to Escobar. And a ball hit into the right field corner, and it's another 2-out hit. And it'll score Arcia. And the Twins are on the board 2-1.
Well, looks like another pitch middle in, and Escobar just opened up quickly and lined it down that right field line. Ball down, had a little sink on it. But Escobar picking up an RBI, his 8th of the year, as Arcia scores.
Juan Centeno will bat, hitting over 300 in limited duty.
Seven hits and 23 at-bats for Centeno, playing in his 8th game.
3 of those hits extra base hits. John Ryan Murphy was the backup catcher to start the season. He didn't hit at all here, and he hasn't hit much better in AAA. He's really struggling with the bat. And meanwhile, Centeno's taken full opportunity of the chance he's been given up here. 2 strikes.
Yeah, young man, 26 years old, from Puerto Rico. Played in the majors with the Mets and the Brewers.
Oh, 0-2. And an easy bouncer to Hosmer. Twins put together a couple of 2-out hits to get on the board, and it's 2-1. Presented by CenturyLink. Switch to CenturyLink Prism TV. CenturyLink Prism TV for an advanced TV experience. Learn more at cprismtv.com. And by North Dakota Tourism. Start your journey at NorthDakotaLegendary.com. And a first pitch strike to the gap, and Merrifield will take a big turn at second and hold up with a leadoff double. Whit Merrifield running well. Looked like he wanted an opening triple, but he'll pull up at second base with a leadoff double.
Yeah, picked up his first extra base hit in last night's ball game. Got a couple hits. That sinking fastball down and in. And Merrifield lining it into left center. So hustling out of the box, thinking three as he picks up where that ball is, and then decides to stay at second base.
Kane doubled with 2 outs in the first inning. He'll hit now with Merrifield at second, nobody out. Ball 1. And a slow breaking ball over.
Yeah, that double by Kane was the first hit against Santana in 9 plate appearances. And Irvin's been able to strike him out 6 times.
Could use one here with Hosmer on, or excuse me, yes, Hosmer on deck. Fastball over the inside corner. 1-2. Centeno smothers a pitch in the dirt. 2-2. Royals 2 games above the 500 mark. The Twins 22 games below. Dozen games separating the 2 teams in the standings. And a ground ball base hit to left. Merrifield to third. He'll be held there. And the inning starts with a double and a single with nobody out. Hosmer comes up with runners on the corners.
Yeah, good hitting right there by Kane. Looked like that ball almost hit the plate. Watch Kane go down and get this ball. Breaking ball, got out front quickly. And hit a sharp single into left field.
Hosmer fouled out to Mauer to end the first inning. Been a chronic problem for the Twins. They have had a hard time scoring runs to begin with, but when they have, it seems like most of the time they give those runs right back in the next half inning.
They give it right back.
So falling behind 2-0, you get one back, and now right away the Royals have a runner at third, nobody out, another runner at first, and now ball 1 to Hosmer.
Santana making his 8th start. He has yet to give up more than 3 earned runs in an outing.
And now 2-0.
Making his 321st major league start. He's pitched just over 2,000 innings in his career. Average about almost 3 walks per 9 innings and about 7 strikeouts per 9. Less hits to innings pitched.
Wow. Not even close, and it's 3-0. Santana struggling similar to the struggles last night of Ricky Nolasco. Santana here tonight has faced 12 batters, only retired 6 of them. Nolasco couldn't complete 3 innings last night.
Yeah, it's been a chronic problem. The starting staff.
Green lighted, and a chopper to first base coach Butch Davis in the Twins dugout.
Yeah, you're not
3-1.
going to win many games when your starting staff earned run average combined is 5.19 coming into this ball game, and they've won just 5 ball games. They've lost 21. Nolasco last night, 2 2/3 innings, gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, all earned. You want to be that stopper. You want to be that starter that goes out there and shuts the door. It just hasn't worked out yet.
on the ground to Mauer, and they'll go for 2 and get the double play. Another run scores. It's 3-1, but Mauer, with the ground ball, sharp ground ball, hit right at him, is able to go 3-6-3 to get the double play.
Yeah, early in the ball game, you get the double play, you get the 2 outs, but you give up 1 as Merrifield scores. So no RBI for Hosmer as he hits into the 3-6-3 double play. But the Royals do get that one back.
And now Morales with a foul. And another foul ball over the tarp. 0-2.
Well, this is a side of the plate that Morales is really struggling on at, hitting 142.
And that's what made the walk leading off the second inning so costly. You want to go after this guy and don't put him on first base. And sure enough, Perez in the next at bat hit a 2-run homer to center. 1-2. Ton, but very foul. Now that's kind of a handy placement down there. The Twins have a stand down there that sells game used equipment, and Morales just hit a game used baseball over there. And Morales strikes out, a leadoff double, follow-up single, and the Royals answer the Twins run in the bottom of the second with another one of theirs in the third.
Tonight is the 12th annual Kids in the City event celebrating the All-Stars of Fox Sports North Boys and Girls Club. And I'm joined by a very special guest. This is Peyton Bowdry, who is this year's Youth of the Year. Peyton, that means, I mean, you're 17 years old. You are a role model for so many kids throughout the Twin Cities. What does that mean for you?
Just simply, first I got to watch every step now because that's a huge role. Because I used to be in these kids' shoes. I used to be just like them. So I feel like my job is to give back to my community, not just to be successful and just move out, but stay in and continue being that one leader that they look up to.
Obviously, that title is such a huge accomplishment. I know in your interview process, you talked a lot about the obstacles that you had to overcome. Can you share a little bit about your story and what the Boys and Girls Club did for you as you were growing up?
I was definitely one of the kids that was very bad and shy and stayed to myself. I got into a lot of fights. I've been kicked out of the club it's countless. But the staff continued to invest in me. They continued to believe in me. They seen that I could be something great. which now I am, and I continue to be successful. So that's the little obstacles that I've been through the club.
Well, you're certainly an inspiration. You have a great story, and congratulations on everything that you have accomplished, and we really appreciate you guys being here, and best of luck to you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
All right, guys, back to you.
Well, thank you, Audra. Great program. Happy that Fox Sports North has gotten behind the boys and girls clubs of the Twin Cities area.
Yeah, congratulations to that young man, too. You know, he said he was kind of down and out. He was not going in the right direction, and the boys and girls club did not give up on him. They kept getting him there, and something triggered inside of him to be the person he is right now. So congratulations, young man.
Santana with a number, and Volquez picked it up, threw him out at first. Then Nunez with a ground ball to Escobar for out number 2. Here's Mauer, lined out to Escobar, his first time up. Strike one.
You know, we made a big deal out of Joe Mauer swinging at that first pitch last night and hitting the home run. Well, he doesn't do that often. But the numbers say when he does, pretty good batting average. But again, he's a guy that does like to work deep into the count, not afraid to hit with 2 strikes, make that pitcher throw some pitches.
1-1. And a ground ball to second. Easy play from Merrifield. 6 pitches, and the Twins are set down 1, 2, 3 in the third. Northland Ford. Visit northlandford.com and your local Northland Ford dealer today. And by Grand Casino. The best stories start here. Early start for the Royals, a 2-run second, another run in the third, and now Salvador Perez, who drove in the 2 runs with a home run to center field, will lead off the 4th inning. Going to jog your memory a little bit. What the Twins need, better pitched ball games from their starting pitchers. Well, on this date in 1973, you pitched a good one against the Royals. Do you remember the game? A 1-hitter. You threw a 1-hitter.
Oh, that's the game that Ed Kirkpatrick laid down a bunt in the
5th inning.
5th inning, yeah.
And I'm guessing that did you hit him with a pitch the next time he came up?
No. It was a perfect bunt. Actually, it stopped on the line. That's how good a bunt it was. And Steve Braun was playing third, and you know, really nobody. I couldn't get over there. Bronny came in, and we were hoping it would roll foul, but it right on the chalk line. I remember that.
Well, the final score was 2-0, so the bunt was appropriate just to get a base runner on. But that was the only hit that the Royals got against you that day. 3-2 to Perez. So you do remember that game?
I remember because Ed Kirkpatrick and I were friends, and he ended up being in a wheelchair for most of his life after that when he had a bad car accident
is that
in California.
right?
Yeah. He actually took the Rawlings job from Don McMahon, a former pitching coach for me with the Twins and also the Cleveland Indians. He became the rep that Jim Hughes is today.
Okay.
But Ed Kirkpatrick had that terrible accident that put him in a wheelchair.
Swing and a miss, and they carry him. And
Perez isn't going to even run down. It's a strikeout for Santana, his 4th of the.
Why would he not run down? What did the umpire Mark Carlson tell him?
Well, he said it was that he did not foul it off, and Perez.
Well, but then the ball went to the backstop.
Right, but the ball came carrying back right toward Centeno. He went to pick it up, and see Perez wondering if he fouled it off. He figured I'm out anyway. Why run down to first?
Well, but you got to force a throw. You never know what might happen. But he looked at the umpire, and it's like Carlson said, "Nah, you're not going to make it."
Go sit down. Go put your gear on.
I don't get that. One down. Here's Orlando. Orlando singled, part of the well, actually he singled in the 2nd inning, but he was not part of the 2-run inning. And Santana pitches up and in. Ball.
Well, again, that's a good pitch right there. We have not seen enough of that. Good fastball inside. He made sure he got it inside. Orlando currently on an 8-game hitting streak. He's swinging a hot bat. Getting a chance to play more on a regular basis.
And a breaking ball for a called 2nd strike.
Orlando, 30 years old, born in Brazil, originally signed by the White Sox. Out of Brazil, I think in 2005.
That's hit to right center field, and Arcia comes over, can't make the play. And Santana cuts it off, but Orlando slides into 2nd. Well, looked like Arcia didn't take the right angle on that ball. Looked like he cut in front of it, and the ball landed behind him.
Again, not a bad pitch right here, but Orlando goes down and hits it sharply the other way. And Arcia cutting straight across. Not the best of route right there for Arcia, but Orlando gets another base hit. This one a double, his 5th double of the year.
It's impressive to see the Royals position by position through their batting order. There's a base hit that's pulled to left by Cuthbert. And they're now runners 1st and 3rd with 1 away. Now that base hit was pulled, but throughout this series, see so many opposite field hits. On, as you said, the pitch by Santana was down and away. It wasn't even a strike, but Orlando kept his head down and swung the bat through the ball and drove it to right center field. Hit it hard that way. Dale Swaim, the hitting coach, they went through a whole bunch of them. They had what, 3 or 4 of them 1 year, along with George Brett being one of them, who stepped in to be the hitting coach for a couple of months. Santana got a double play in the 3rd. He could use another one here.
This one's going to have to be a quick one.
One strike to Dyson. Blocked by Centeno, 1-1. You just can't keep giving away runs, and the Twins saw the Royals score in just about every inning. Well, they did in the first 4 innings, and by then the game was pretty much over with.
Yeah, Dyson pretty good at making contact too. Only 7 strikeouts and 82 at bats.
Missing inside, 2-1. Kicks away from Centeno. Here comes Orlando, and he'll score. The ball gets away from Santana, and now Cuthbert will go to 3rd. Well, the Royals get at least one here, and a pitch in the dirt that skipped away from Centeno, allowing Orlando to come in from third base.
Orlando, good jump at third base when he saw this ball deflect away from Centeno. His pitch and lands in front of home plate, hit the chest protector, but then caromed over to the Royals dugout. Orlando scores, and Santana, trying to get the ball in quick tag, loses his glove, and the ball ends up behind him.
Twins bring the infield in. 3-1 the count to Dyson, and a walk will put Dyson aboard. Santana's not looked very good here tonight. 7 hits on the board, 2 walks, a wild pitch, and Alcides Escobar will hit next. Sunday FS1 UFC Fight Night returns as 2 unstoppable, undefeated bantamweights collide when Thomas Almeida takes on Cody Garbrandt. Plus, former champion Kenan Bayro faces the dangerous knockout power of Jeremy Stevens. Sunday at 4:30 Central, only on FS1. Watch it live on Fox Sports Go. And now Alcides Escobar 0 for 2 in the game. This is his 3rd plate appearance, and there's only 1 out in the 4th.
Well, he struck out to end the 2nd inning. That's what Irvin needs right here.
Nubbed foul, and got to keep an eye on Dyson too. He's quite capable of stealing a base and taking the double play possibility away from him.
This is another guy that doesn't strike out much, even though he did in his last at bat only 28 strikeouts in 191 plate appearances. And he doesn't draw any walks either. He wants to swing the bat, only 8 walks.
He did in 2012, his 2nd year with Kansas City, strike out 100 times, and every year his strikeout total has come down.
Dyson at first base, excellent speed, 8 stolen bases in 10 attempts.
One strike to Escobar.
We saw the career numbers, outstanding.
And a base hit to right. Another opposite field hit for the Royals, and Dyson will check in at 2nd. And the Royals have at least 2 more here in the 4th.
Well, another pitch away. And even though it's good location, you see a lot of these Royals kind of diving out over the plate. Look where this pitch is. And that's something you mentioned earlier, Dick. This is a good hitting ball club that doesn't try to pull that ball. They just went with it. That big hole into right field. And Escobar picks up an RBI, his 13th of the year. And a quick trip to the mound by the pitching coach, Neil Allen.
4 straight men have reached after Perez struck out to start the 4th inning. And Ryan Presley trying to get a little loose there. Looks like the Twins might have to dip into the bullpen early again tonight, with Santana already allowing 5 runs and 8 hits. Merrifield will bat. Started the 3rd inning with a double to left center field, scored. Ball 1. 75 pitches for Santana, 45 strikes. Neither number suggesting that Santana is sharp tonight.
Step off. Yeah, when you see your middle infielder like Nunez going to cover the bag, that leaves that big hole at second base. You almost want to step off. Nunez's job is to try to keep Dyson close to second base.
Back and forth, back and forth.
That's where speed can kind of upset a pitcher a little bit.
And now they throw, and Nunez has to do a nice job to keep that ball from sailing into center field. So a lot of decoys and then the real thing. But Dyson still gets back. One and 0 to Whit Merrifield. That was a better job by Nunez, with Santana throwing it 5 feet short of the bag.
As a pitcher, when you have a quick runner at second base, you utilize that slide step with the runner at first. Just do the same at second. Just make him stop. Don't let him disrupt what you're trying to do. But Santana, a couple throws to second. Michael Tonkin now getting loose.
Santana's only gotten 10 outs. One and 0 to Merrifield. And now a throw to first. Safe. Mauer put the tag down, but the left arm of Escobar got the corner of the bag. Yeah, and now Escobar may have gotten hurt.
Kind of maybe hyperextended that arm. You see Mauer sneaking in behind Escobar. Escobar just able to get that left hand back on the bag.
Paul Molitor with a foot out of the dugout to see if the Twins want to challenge it. And they won't, I don't think, after looking at that angle. Nope. The Twins executing the playbook here in terms of trying to control some speedy runners. Pickoffs at second and just barely getting back. This is more attention paid to both runners in a situation like this than we've seen for quite some time. The catcher almost picked off the runner at first, and Santana nearly got Dyson there. And a called strike, 2-1.
Merrifield, 27 years old, 7 minor league seasons with the Royals before getting called up on the 18th of this month.
And another inside move.
Well, you think about it too. I mean, a base hit right here probably scores Dyson anyway with his speed.
And flipped foul, 2-2. I like that pickoff to the trailing runner at first base. Baltimore Orioles would do that with Eddie Murray, Rick Dempsey, or whomever the catcher was, but that was almost a patented play by the Orioles. So much focus on the runner at second. And the guy at first thinks, well, they don't even know I'm here. And then boom, catcher throws him out. And now 3-2. Oh, this has just been a pig wrestle for Santana here tonight. He's really struggled.
I like that pig wrestle.
That's another word for ugly. And a foul ball. Pitches for Santana, and he's got 1 out in the 4th inning. Tonkin appears to be ready or close to it. Snap bat. How many can they get? 1. And Mauer with the catch of the throw, and then a look over to Dyson at third base. Merrifield runs well.
Yes, he does. He got down that line very quickly, stayed out of the double play. Got jammed right there, hit the ground ball to Escobar. Escobar flipping it to Nunez, and Nunez throwing it sharply over to Mauer. Well, too many pitches early, too many this inning.
Kane with 2 hits already against Santana. And into center field. He's got a 3-hit night. Another run scores. Throw going to third base. Kane had gone 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts against Santana, and he's 3 for 3 against him tonight. And the Royals have at least 3 in the 4th.
Jumping on that first pitch, picking up his 3rd hit, driving in his 24th run.
Down and away. Fox Tracks presented by Dodge.
I tell you, there's no fear factor of these guys reaching out over the plate and getting a good swing. So the miseries continue for the starting staff of the Twins.
Last night Nolasco couldn't get out of the 3rd. Tonight Santana can't get out of the 4th. And the Royals have opened up a comfortable lead early in the ball game. Michael Tonkin will pitch next. Comfortable out there. At least he didn't look comfortable. Struggled with his control. Sanford Health injury report. And we wish the very best for Ryan Vogelsong. A frightening moment. Get hit by a line drive and suffered facial fractures. And you've said many times you've always been fortunate because you never got hit above the
waist.
Yep. And Vogelsong did. It was a pretty frightening sequence of video frames.
Yeah. If you have a queasy stomach, do not watch it because it's ugly. Well, Michael Tonkin coming in, making his 21st relief appearance. He last worked here on Sunday against Toronto in the 3-1 loss through 22 pitches, 17 for strikes. All in all, he's done a very good job out of that bullpen. A couple outings that kind of got away from him. That one in Detroit that he gave up 3 runs in a 1/3 of an inning. That's why the higher ERA than it probably should be.
A scoreless first, then a 2-spot, a 1-spot, and a 3-spot here in the 4th inning. And Hosmer is 0 for 2. Fouled out to Mauer to end the 1st inning, then bounced into a double play. A run scored, but of course no run batted in. In terms of getting outs, frankly, Michael Tonkin's done a better job than most out of the Twins bullpen.
Yep.
ERA that's respectable, opponent batting average that's very good. And the walks are reasonable, 7 in 22 1/3 innings. And there goes Kane, swing and a miss, and Centeno bluffs.
Kane had a great jump right there. He steals a base, his 6th of the year.
Still a weak spot in Tonkin, and if you look at his stuff and think, well, maybe at some point he can grow into a late inning guy, he'll still need to do a better job of holding runners. 1-2 to Hosmer.
Well, Royals did this last night against Ricky Nolasco, and Trevor May put 8 runs on the board in the first 4 innings. And they have 6 so far here in 2 outs in the 4th.
2-2. "17 times now Twin starter has taken the mound with 1 win, looking for his 2nd. And no Twin starter's been able to do that. Fouled, and it's 2-2.
Morales on deck.
Indians knocked out Chris Sale tonight in the 4th inning. Got a 5-1 lead. Pitch inside, just missing, and now it's a full count to Hosmer.
Yeah, he came into that ball game, what, 9-0 with an ERA about a 1.5.
Yep. Full count with 2 gone. Hosmer, the 8th man to bat this inning. This inning started with Perez striking out.
Tonkin basically fastball, moving fastball, and the slider. And he pulled the string right there and got a strikeout.
3 scored, 2 are left, and it's 6-1 Kansas City. Find a growing and diverse wine scene scattered throughout the state and California. Because of the wine culture growth and the popularity of Minnesota vineyards, some have teamed up to organize wine trails and make it easy for visitors to explore multiple nearby wineries. Find endless ideas for the perfect getaway at exploreminnesota.com. Share your favorites with #OnlyInMN. I know up where we have our lake place, there's a Scandia Valley winery, and very tasty stuff.
So you've been through it?
I have not. My family members have. Half swing and a strike. 1-1. Just saw a check swing by Sano, and I asked Paul Molitor today about Young Hole Park. It seems both Sano and Park have an issue with check swings. It seems like half the swings are on check swings. There's a full swing, and he said what I think you were trying to say the other day regarding Park. Unless you've got 2 strikes, commit to your swing. And that's kind of what Paul was saying too. He wants to see both Sano and Park, if the count's 1-0, whatever, until you get to 2 strikes. And there's another one. And with 2 strikes, Sano checked, and he's struck out for the second time.
And a good changeup right there that Sano took. And Volquez picks up his 3rd strikeout.
June 8th, Superhero Night at Target Field. A limited number of superhero theme night ticket packages are available that include a game ticket and a Twins superhero t-shirt. For every ticket purchased, the Twins will donate a Twins superhero cape to a child at Gillette Children's Hospital, and a portion of each ticket will go to Gillette Specialty Healthcare. Go to twinsbaseball.com/superhero night. Learn more about the superhero theme night offer. And you were not a big superhero fan.
Well, not that I'm a fan. I just didn't watch a lot of TV when I was younger. We had to work. I had to play sports.
You had to work?
My dad told me to get out of the house, so I did.
So he could watch whatever he wanted on television.
His
probably.
TV, not mine.
Yeah. 1-1 to Trevor Plouffe. Twins having a tough time scoring runs, you know that. 156 runs coming into the game. Then there are the Boston Red Sox, who coming into play today had 256 runs scored. 100 more runs already this year than the Twins in 44 games. 1-2. And Plouffe with a half swing and strike 3.
Back-to-back strikeouts.
And the Twins now behind 6-1 and not having very good at bats here in the 4th inning.
Well, Volquez, like Tom Bernanke's scouting report says, this is his best pitch, that changeup. Not a very good swing by Trevor. Strikeout number 4 for Volquez.
There's Grossman called out on strikes. Took a curveball for a 3rd strike in the 2nd. Took another one there, ball 1.
Yeah, Volquez making his 2nd start against the Twins. His 2nd start of the year came against Minnesota back in Kansas City. In that outing, 5 2/3 innings pitched, he struck out 10. That's a season high. 13 is a career high for Volquez. Volquez came up with the Texas Rangers. He's pitched for the Cincinnati Reds, San Diego Padres, LA Dodgers, Pittsburgh Pirates, and now in his 2nd season with the Royals.
2-1.
83 wins and 228 now major league starts. 72 losses.
I know his status as, the Twins signed him to a minor league deal and ended up bringing him up a couple days after signing him out of the Cleveland organization. But based on what we've seen in the ever revolving door in the leadoff spot, 3-1 to Grossman. Swing and a miss, 3-2. You wonder whether Grossman might not get a shot. He gives the team a good at bat. He can walk. He's hit awfully well in his first week with the Twins.
9 minor league seasons with the Pirates, Astros, and Indians. A .271 hitter.
3-2. And he takes a walk. Nowadays, the leadoff hitter, whether he can run or not, if he's qualified just on the basis of his on-base percentage, and there isn't anybody getting on base any more frequently now than Robbie Grossman. And that'll bring up Arcia. Problem is the leadoff spot's almost been a kiss of death for whoever the Twins put in there. They cool them off right away. Santana's been there. Nunez, Bauer,
Dozier. Oh, got him. At the back foot.
Arcia is hit by a pitch. 1st and 2nd, 2 down now for Escobar.
Yeah, breaking ball down and in.
Bounce off the back knee.
First hit batsman of the year for Volquez.
Escobar drove in the Twins run with a single to right back in the second inning. Volquez has gotten the first 2 men in every inning so far. Now a couple men have reached without a hit. Ball 1. It's amazing though, isn't it, when you think of the Red Sox at this point of the season scoring 100 more runs than the Twins.
I mentioned last night they're hitting almost 300 as a ball club, hitting 296.
1-0. And a base hit to right. Grossman to third. They're going to wave him around, and the ball is kicked in right again by Orlando. They're going to wave Arcia around, and 2 runs will score on Escobar's second 2-out run-producing hit of the night.
That's the second, or really the third time in this ball game that a ball has gotten away from the right fielder, Orlando. Well, Escobar hit the ball sharply into right field. That would have scored Grossman from second base. But on the air, watch that ball skip past Orlando, hits his glove. And it got behind him. With 2 outs, runners keep going. Arcia scoring from first base.
And now Centeno hit to the outfield, might get the Twins another run. 6-3.
Should be an RBI single for Escobar.
Just 1 run batted in, right? And an error to Centeno.
Error to Orlando.
I mean Orlando, yes.
That's his first error of the year.
But just the 1 run batted in.
Did not give an RBI to Escobar. Said that Gene Glenn was holding him up.
I didn't see that, and I'd be surprised to see that, even though the Twins were down. So no run batted in. Okay. 1-1 to Centeno. On the outside corner. Centeno hit a ground ball to Hosmer his first time up. Out in front of the changeup, and that ends the inning. Twins take a walk, get a hit batter, get a base hit, and an error to score a couple of runs in the 4th at 6-3.
Lottery winner's circle with the birthday girl, Tessa from Moorhead, Minnesota. Congratulations. You are our lucky winner today, Tessa, but it's your 26th birthday, and I hear this is your first time at Target Field, but you're a huge fan. What took you so long to come down here?
I don't know what took me so long to get down here, but I'm so happy to watch Joe Mauer play first base today.
Joe Mauer, always a popular choice. Great guy, great player. And I also hear that you're a big Vikings fan, so you're all around Minnesota sports.
Huge Vikings fan. I named my cat after Harrison Smith, so I love the Vikings.
You're a cat lady. I like you. You and I would get along well. Well, we're going to give you $100 worth of scratch-off tickets from the Minnesota Lottery. Bert is going to circle you. I know it's a dream come true, you told me, so have a good time. Enjoy the rest of your birthday, and congratulations. Have fun.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
What do you suppose? The cat's name is Harrison or Smith?
Happy birthday, young lady.
1-1 to Kendrys Morales. Drew a walk and scored on the Perez home run in the second. Struck out to end the third. Michael Tonkin starting his first inning of work. He had to come in to get the Twins off the field in the fourth.
You know, we said happy birthday to a gentleman who was 100 years old last night. I got something in the mail today that says I want to say hello or happy birthday to Marion Mahoney. She is 104 years old. 4 days ago, she's at the Good Samaritan Nursing Home in Pipestone, Minnesota.
Oh.
So Marion, happy 104th birthday, belated. My goodness.
Just off the corner.
Michael Tonkin, 26 years old, 6'7".
And fouled. I just wished happy birthday the other day to Henrietta Vanderwall. She was 88 in Pipestone. The key to a long life. What did the doctor say last night? He reached to 100. It was moderation and living in Pipestone, apparently. Mauer to the back. One down. And that'll bring up Salvador Perez. Go back to our trivia question regarding catchers in 5-hit games. Perez, obviously, he did it last night.
Jason Kendall.
John Wathan. Darrell Porter, we mentioned his name, though.
Yes, we did.
We mentioned his name. Just off the outside corner, ball one. Doesn't impact Tonkin, at least not yet, but Paul Molitor was asked today who his setup guys are, and he said, you know, I mean, Trevor May's struggling. He said probably Abad and Kinsler would be the guys right now. Ryan Presley might get some late inning duty with the lead.
That last pitch kind of ran in on Perez, and he didn't have the same swing. When he likes that ball out over the plate, wants to extend the arm. Breaking ball there. Let's take it. This is 2 pitches ago. Watch that ball run in on the inner part of the plate. Not the same swing.
1-2. Breaking ball missing inside. 2-2.
Last year's World Series MVP Salvador Perez.
Hey, I know the team's struggling, but how lucky are we to be here? What a gorgeous view that is. There's a hard ground ball.
My goodness, is he hot?
How or why did he strike out leading off the 4th inning? 1 out single here in the 5th.
5 hits last night, 2 so far here tonight.
And that'll bring up Orlando. By the way, someone on Twitter was nice enough to inform me why he thought Perez was called out after the ball got by Centeno, and I didn't see it. I would have noted it at the time, but the ball hopped up and hit the screen, which made it a dead ball for strike 3.
Oh, okay.
Down and away, ball 1. It can hit the backstop and carry him back on the field of play, but apparently the ball hit the screen, which is a protective netting, but it's not part of the field of play.
Right.
So I appreciate that. Twitter can be a wonderful, wonderful thing. I said it can be. 2-0. Orlando with a pair of hits. To second and behind the back, and no out will be recorded. Nunez tried to flip it behind himself to Escobar, but it was off target and everybody's safe.
Wow, you got to know who's running too. Perez, he did not get that. He's not going to get down there very quickly. And Nunez getting it in his glove and then trying to flip behind him. The ball gets to Escobar and it bounces out of his glove.
What's the credo? You've got to get an out. You got to get one before you can get two.
Right.
Here is Cuthbert. And now Tonkin takes care of matters himself. Nice job by Tonkin as the Twins put a 0 up at the top of the fifth.
Hitting off a tee downstairs in the batting cage, and then today outside, Tom Bernanski throwing to Brian Dozier, and you see that baseball right by his left foot. What Bruno wants Dozier to do is don't open up. You can see him just take that little stride and then do that. Hit that ball to right field. Let the ball get deeper into the strike zone. And after that, they brought a machine out that throws curveballs, and they did the same thing with that. And actually, Byung-Ho Park also was involved in that. And both of them, what Tom Bernanski wants both of them to do is keep that left shoulder in. It's almost like pitching. You know, you keep the left shoulder in and drive that ball back up the middle the other way. And what was so fun to watch it, talking to Tom and also to Brian Dozier after the fact, is that even though the ball maybe stayed inside, Brian still turned on it, but he kept that shoulder in and used his hands. And that's what Tom Bernanski is trying to get both those guys to do, Dozier and Park. So a lot of extra work, and that's why Brian Dozier, he's had a couple days off just to work with Bruno on that. And Park spent a lot of time today in that cage outside and took a lot of extra batting practice. So you hope it pays off.
I'll be curious whether Dozier's in the lineup tomorrow, or whether with the off day Thursday they give him another day out of the lineup, then another day to kind of let things, you know, get processed or whatever Thursday, and then get him back in the lineup Friday. We'll see what the manager decides to do.
And sometimes, same as pitching, my goodness, hitters get into bad slumps, and they try to do a little bit more. And we all know that Brian wants to pull the ball. Well, when you're opening up, he's always a guy that's right on top of the plate, and your left shoulder flies open or your left hip flies open, it's hard to hit that ball away that they are now pitching to him.
A year ago he was on his way to the All-Star game because he got pitches up and in, and he turned on them and hit a lot of home runs, some dramatic home runs, even hit one in the All-Star game. But he hasn't seen those pitches in the second half last year or first half this year.
And no matter who you are, you always have basics you go back to, and that's what Bruno was very good at. Just go back to the basics of just trying to hit the ball, let it get a little bit deeper in the strike zone, and then trusting your hands that it can get through to hit that ball solid.
That was a really nice walk taken by Santana. Fouled off some pitches, and the speed of the number 9 batters aboard here. This has not been a good game for the Twins, but it is 6-3.
The second walk for Volquez.
Yeah, and we'll see what the lineup can do third time through the order. Nunez was 3 for 3 against Volquez, 0 for 2 tonight. Just one other note about Bernansky and Dozier and how they're working to get the second baseman fixed. I think that was the term Terry Ryan used. Down and away, and Perez wanted to fire to first but didn't grip the baseball. Tom Bernansky said of Dozier, we know that he wants to hit the home run, but sometimes you have to hit the single to get the home run. Meaning if the pitch is down and away and then you get a single, then you might get something in the inner half to pull. But unless you do the first, you won't get the second. 1-0 to Nunez.
I got to play this game a long time now. I've had an opportunity to broadcast a long time, and you see so many great hitters, and you get a chance to talk to a lot of these great hitters about their philosophy on hitting. And a lot of them say, I want to hit that ball right back up the middle. I want to hit it to left center, right center, and if I'm lucky, they leave it in, boom, I'm going to hit it out. But that's the last thing that a lot of hitters think about, is hitting the ball out of the ballpark. They want to make good, solid contact, hit it right through the pitcher.
3-0 now to Nunez with Mauer on deck. Strike down the middle. Most people say that Ted Williams was the best hitter of all time, and the thousands and thousands of times someone asked him what was the key to hitting, and he would always say the same thing: get a good pitch to hit. See what Nunez gets here. But that pitch down and away is not a good pitch to hit. And you've talked about the Ted Williams chart before, but three and 1 to Nunez.
Perez was sitting inside. Now he's sitting away.
Santana goes, and the pitch hit to the right side and through. Hit and run single, and the Twins have speed on the corners with nobody out.
Yeah, they had Santana taken off right there in Merrifield. He was going to second base to cover second, so it left a big hole. So Nunez getting a good job and a good pitch, not trying to pull it, just taking that pitch the other way. And Santana, you can see him take off. He just scoots over to third.
And now Mauer representing the tying run. He lined out to short his first time up, then grounded out to Merrifield in the third. First 4 innings, and Volquez had retired the first 2 batters in each inning, but now here in the 5th, the first 2 batters are on. Strike 1.
And Mauer came into the ball game 8 hits and 19 at bats against Volquez with a home run. 0 for 2 so far. Opportunity to here to get a run in or two.
Down and away, 1-1.
Third time through the batting order, you see what the opponents have been able to do against him.
Santana drew a nice walk, a tough walk, and then Nunez, the third time he faced him, got a base hit. Taken for a strike, 1-2.
Pull the string right there. Again, there's that changeup that Tom Bernansky talked about. And his scouting report, basically big letters say, be ready for the changeup. It's his best pitch.
Base hit, left center field. Santana scores. Nunez to second base. And the Twins have gotten to within 2 and have the tying run at first with nobody out.
Yeah, breaking ball left up right there, and Joe fought it off like he does so well and hit it the other way. So the Twins slowly coming back and getting back into this ball game. Dave Island, the pitching coach, out. You see the breaking ball. That's almost like the machine that was utilized to that pitch right there for Park and Dozier. Not a lot of bite, but just like Mauer right there, stayed back nice and just hit it the other way. Good piece of hitting by Mauer.
Well, the Twins have the guy at the plate they would want in a situation like this, Miguel Sano. Sano's last home run coming more than a week ago.
And Sano with 7 home runs, all of them solo home runs. To see him hit a home run with somebody on base.
Taken low, ball 1. And this is what we were talking about before. What Paul wants to see Sano do, he's got a hitter's count. Go hunting for a particular pitch, and it might be the changeup in a particular spot, and make a commitment to swing.
And see, there's a check swing right there on a very good changeup. Twins have hit 3 3-run home runs. The latest one was Nunez here against Toronto in the 5-3 win. Dozier has one. Actually, Dozier has 2 3-run home runs.
1-1. 2-1. Volquez retired the first 5 batters, and the Twins got a couple of 2-out hits and a run in the second. And he retired 6 men in a row until Grossman's walk eventually led to a couple of runs. And now here in the 5th, he hasn't gotten anybody out. Old foul, and it's 2-2.
See if it goes back to that changeup. That's what struck out Sano in the 4th inning.
On a check swing.
He wants to talk to Perez. Has made 1 All-Star appearance. That was back in 2008 when he was with the Cincinnati Reds.
Two and 2. Jam shot. And Sano will have to hurry to stay out of a double play, and he did. Just barely, and it might be reviewed by the Royals.
Well, he got jabbed right there, and that allowed him maybe a couple extra giant steps getting down that first baseline. bang bang play at first, but Sano for a big man does get down that line very quickly.
Don Wakamatsu, the bench coach, is on the phone with the video room for the Royals.
They ran a fastball in on him.
Now that's very close. I don't know if there's enough to overrule it.
And they did not.
They didn't challenge.
Review.
See, this is a year ago they would have, because I honestly believe it's much more difficult, much more unlikely to overrule a challenge than it was even a year ago. So only one out, and Plouffe takes inside, ball one. Royals have the lead here by a couple of runs, although the lead is quivering a little bit. Chopper foul. Because most people seem to think that challenges are less likely to be overturned. In this situation, teams are less likely to ask for the challenge, because if they don't get it overturned, then they're done for a couple innings. One and one to Plouffe.
Well, two fastballs middle in so far here to Trevor Plouffe. And another fastball at 95.
Plouffe with a fly to right and a strikeout. They take the fly to right now to score Nunez and get another run back. But I'm sure they wouldn't mind if Trevor hit a 3-run home run here.
That'd be nice, but we need contact. There he pulled the string.
2 down.
For the second time, Trevor Plouffe struck out on that changeup. So all fastballs, and then he pulled that string, and like Bruno said, that's his best pitch. Strikeout number 6 in a ball game for Volquez.
Grossman started a 2-run rally, if you can call it that. Twins only got 1 hit. They were helped by a hit batter and an error, but they got a couple on the board after a Grossman walk, and now looking for a big 2-out hit from their newest player.
Now, Robbie Grossman playing in just his 5th game as a Twin.
First time he's hit in the middle of a batting order. Change up for a strike. And Tom Bernansky saying this guy gets to the ballpark early, does his video work, knows about the pitcher, has an idea what he wants to do. He knows all about the changeup. Popped up right field. Got out in front of an off-speed pitch. And that ends the inning. The Twins get 1, leave 2. It is 6-4 as we head to the 6th. A special night at Target Field. Fox Sports North and the Minnesota Twins welcome 75 Boys and Girls Clubs kids to the ballpark in conjunction with the 12th annual Kids in the City event. The event's designed to recognize the Fox Sports North All-Stars. All-Stars are Boys and Girls Club members between the ages of 8 to 13 who are selected on a monthly basis for excelling and leading in programming and activities. People are a testament to the positive force that the Boys and Girls Clubs are in our community. And we are very proud to honor them at the ballpark tonight.
There you go, young man. You are hereby circled. Well, Ryan Presley coming in at a ball game, making his 23rd relief appearance. He worked 3 times in that Toronto series. Total of 2 1/3 innings, gave up only 1 run.
Fastball missing inside, ball 1.
You know, some of these relievers, I mean, this is 23rd time. This is the 45th game for the Twins. They're at a pace of, 80 appearances. That's way too many times out on that mound.
And a flare to left, a base hit for Gerard Dyson, leading off the 6th inning. So now Presley will have to contend with his being a nuisance at first base for as long as he's at first. You can follow Twins baseball live with the MLB.com at-bat app. Customize at-bat to feature the Twins. Stay up to the moment at any moment with game day, live game video highlights, StatCast news, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Download MLB.com at-bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. Escobar drove in a run with a single, and there's a high chopper over the mound. And Nunez has to make an adjustment. He went to the bag, and then once the ball got over Presley's reach, he got the baseball and threw out Escobar, but Dyson's at second.
Dyson was taken off because of Presley's high leg kick. If Escobar had taken that, he would have almost walked to second base. Take a look, see the high leg kick. And then Escobar, that high chopper. Nunez, who was covering second base, cut across the infield and made the out.
Whit Merrifield, 1 for 3, double and a run scored. Dyson very apt to stealing third in this situation. Presley with a high leg kick.
You almost have to show that high leg kick and do the spin around just to show them that even though you utilize the high leg kick, that you can also go to second base with it.
Swing and a foul, 0-2. Presley's strikeout pitch is that sharp curveball.
He has 24 strikeouts in 25 innings pitched coming into this appearance, but 14 walks.
There goes Dyson to third, and the pitch swung on and fouled back.
Well, that's why I said, I mean, he's got to know that Dyson likes to steal. You have to utilize that slide step or come to the set position, raise your leg, and go to second base. You don't have to throw to second, but just show them that you can do that.
The Royals 4 hits, 10 at bats. Bunch some hits together to score 3 runs in the 4th. 0-2. Nunez trying to keep Dyson close to second base. Popped up center field. And Arcia wants it. So does Santana. And Dyson forces a throw, 2 down. And that'll bring up Kane.
Well, if you just joined us here, Ervin Santana, who Twins were hoping would be that guy that get that second win and get the win. Well, he had a good first inning, didn't give up a double, but then the second inning, the home run to Perez made it a 2-0 lead. And then the third inning, a couple more hits, added another run to a 3-1 deficit. And then the 4th inning was not good. Kane with the RBI single that chased Santana from the game. 3 2/3 innings, 6 runs, all earned. 9 hits.
Royals have been very good, but they've also been among the best teams in using video in scouting opponents. And I'm wondering, I'm going to ask Paul or maybe Neil Allen about it. I mean, some of the breaking balls that Santana threw were decent enough breaking balls in decent enough spots, and it's almost like the Royals were expecting the pitch was coming. And so I wonder whether they might take a look at some video and see whether Santana might be tipping his pitches or something.
I don't know if he's tipping his pitches, but there was no pitchers consistently inside. Everything was away. Yeah, they hit some good pitches, but they're lunging out over the plate.
Which you can do if you know the pitch is coming, right? I mean, if you
know the pitcher's not going to come hard in, yeah, you're going to lunge out over the plate. That left shoulder is really going to dive.
1-1 to Kane. Presley trying to pitch around Dyson's leadoff single.
Yeah, now if you're a pitcher like Presley right here with 2 outs, you don't worry about Dyson at second base. You worry about the hitter right here. He can't score if you get this guy out.
And if Kane gets a hit to the outfield, Dyson's going to score anyway, right?
Exactly.
1-2. Missed inside with a fastball.
I remember one time I was facing Ricky Henderson. He got on with 2 outs. He stole second, stole third. I looked at him and said, hey, you got 2 stolen bases, but I got the next guy out. He knew he was stranded at third. But he got his 2 bases. I helped with those 1,500 stolen bases he had.
Breaking ball, and it's flared into right field. And Dyson around third. He'll score. Kane with a 4-hit night. Last night it was Salvador Perez, and tonight it's Lorenzo Kane.
When you're going good, and the Royals have been playing very well, they've won 6 out of their last 8 ball games. You need guys to step up, and you mentioned Perez last night, Kane here tonight, just reaching out and just poking that ball into right field. And it's a 7-4 ball game as Kane picks up his 2nd RBI on his 4th hit.
And eventually Dyson does come around to score. When Dale Swaim took the job with the Royals, one of the things he preached was making contact. Don't strike out. You're going to from time to time, but really bear down with 2 strikes and try to make contact, put the ball in play. And Kane just gave you a great example of what can happen. 1-0 now to Hosmer, who's 0 for 3. And a strike call, 1-1. So again, Twins score in the bottom of the 5th, get to within a couple, and then the Royals add another run in the next half inning. Royals have scored in 4 of the 6 innings so far here tonight. Chopped toward first, a foul ball. Kane with 4 hits, the 10th time he's done it, first time against the Twins. One and 2. And so Hosmer got fooled on that pitch, but again was able to fight it off, put a piece of the bat on it, keep the at bat alive. And Hosmer strikes out. Dyson flares a base hit. Eventually he comes around to score on another 2-out hit. Kane's 4th hit of the game, and the lead's back to 3. North Dakota Tourism. Start your journey at NorthDakotaLegendary.com. Got some fans of the game enjoying U of M night with the Gopher colored Twins caps handed out. Special ticket package. Oswaldo Arcia leading off the bottom of the 6th inning. And he's been practicing that. He had plenty of room to drop down a bunt and get a base hit in front of third baseman Cuthbert, but he fouled at 1 strike. Hey, all night long in between innings, they've been playing Bob Dylan songs here because it's Bob Dylan's 75th birthday today, and they had the kiss cam going, and Bob Dylan's "To Be Alone with You," which was appropriate. Couples kissing here at Target Field, hardly alone, but
I like to kiss cam. You got me one time.
I got you once.
You scared the heck out of me.
2 strikes to Arcia.
I'm gonna do an odor on you if you do it
Ever
again.
try it again?
Oh, they hit him again.
I think that kicked off of Perez's equipment. 1 and 2. Arcia is hit by a pitch his last time up. And he has scored 2 runs here today.
You always see the catcher look at the hitter in case, you know, he's looking in for the sign.
Arcia to right, and he's got his 2nd hit.
I've seen Volquez leave a couple breaking balls up. He left one up to Joe Mauer when he got the RBI single last inning. And right there, a breaking ball stayed up, and Arcia picks up his 2nd hit.
Now, the man has struck out 34 times in 85 at bats. That's still a high strikeout rate, but we have seen more 2-strike hits. Cutting his swing down and just trying to do what Kane did to drive in a run in the top half of this inning. So the leadoff man is on, and that'll bring up Escobar, who's already got 2 run-producing hits. Actually, he did not get credit for a run batted in with his base hit in the 4th. I'm thinking that might change. Down and away, ball 1.
Yeah, they didn't give him the RBI because they thought that Gene Glenn was holding up Grossman, but we kind of saw a replay, and it didn't look like Gene Glenn had his hands up.
Chop foul.
An RBI single in the 2nd inning. Escobar getting a fastball down, knocking in Arcia. And then in the 4th inning, hit the ball sharply, and that ball was bobbled by Orlando. And not only Grossman scored, also Arcia on the air.
One and 1. And Hosmer and Arcia went back to the bag because he thought Hosmer was going to catch it in the air, and it's a double play.
Yeah, not much really Arcia could do right there. The ball's right in front of you. And he kind of picked it on that short hop. Arcia tried to get back to the bag, but the ball, since it hit the ground, force out and then a rundown.
Well, it was going to be a double play anyway. Had Arcia taken off for 2nd base, and even though it didn't change the outcome, Arcia actually, I think, probably did the right thing there, because if the ball had carried to Hosmer on the fly, at least Arcia would have gotten back to the bag safe. Right. You preach that, don't you?
Yeah, you're in no man's land.
You've got to, make sure the line drive gets through the infield, and in that case, it didn't matter. 1 and 1 now to Centeno. Popped up weakly left side. Cuthbert has it. Twins get a leadoff single from Arcia, but send just 3 men to the plate. pitching with a lead for the entire night. Today's T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. Francisco Rodriguez got his 400th save tonight as the Tigers beat the Phillies. Indians knocked out Chris Sale in the 4th inning. And the Cubs roll along. 12-3 in the 9th inning, a 6-run first inning. Cubs hoping for win number 30. Be the first team in baseball with that many wins. Kendrys Morales facing Ryan Presley. If you just joined us, Twin starter Irvin Santana left the ball game after an ineffective start of just 3 2/3 innings. To our knowledge, no injury issue. He just was taken out. Had a tough time really in all 4 of his innings that he pitched in. 2 strikes to Morales, and then Perez and Orlando. One and 2. Twins didn't have a good series against the Blue Jays, but at least towards the end they were getting longer starts. Nothing extraordinary, but at least 6 innings, and allowed them to set up the bullpen somewhat. But now here in this series, back-to-back short starts from Nolasco and Santana.
Well, he stayed with a breaking ball, picks up a strikeout of Morales. So Presley, working his 2nd inning, picks up his 2nd strikeout.
Now Salvador Perez.
Good curveball right here. Down underneath that swing of so many left-handed hitters.
I mean, that's where he wants to throw it, right in the dirt on the other side of the plate.
Exactly.
Perez with a 2-run home run, a strikeout, and a single. He has 7 hits and 8 at-bats in this series, up and in ball 1. You're looking at the scoreboard, and the Twins have been struggling to score runs, and here they are with 4 runs on the board, but they haven't, been to this point meaningful runs because they've been trailing, trying to come from behind all night long. Up and in, 2-0.
Centeno, one of those catchers, he will sometimes sit down all the way on the ground. Shades of Benito Santiago or Tony Pena, how low they get.
Deep to left, it'll hook foul. Perez was retired in the 4th inning because he swung and missed. Every time he's hit the ball hard. Even the foul balls. 2-1.
Centeno wanted a fastball in, but it'll be a fastball away.
Lifted to short right. And Arcia comes in. 2 away.
Well, Twins have not had a 1-2-3 inning yet here tonight. See if we can get Orlando out. He has a couple hits, a single, a double. Scored 1 time.
Dribbled up the line, foul. Well, roughly a quarter of the way into the season. Let's take a look at Centeno here.
See how low he gets.
High and deep to right center field, but Arcia is there. And Presley has a 1-2-3-7. Casino story of the game.
Well, Salvador Perez, who had 5 hits yesterday in his first at-bat in second inning, a 2-run home run, giving the Royals a 2-1 lead. Twins come back. Escobar's RBI made it a 2-1 ball game, but the Royals come back again with a wild pitch, scores a run, and then in the 4th inning, it was a lot of hits, 4 hits for the Royals, 3 runs that opened up the game to a 6-1 lead, but the Twins came fighting back. 2 unearned runs in the bottom of the 4th inning. They added 1 more in the 5th. It's a 7-4 Royals lead.
Danny Santana bunts in the air and an easy catch for Volquez. Second time last couple of games we've seen Santana bunt the ball in the air. 1 down.
Yeah, what he's trying to do right there is take the ball with him, like bunt it towards second base, because the third baseman's already in.
Well, popped up bunt, of course, looks bad, but then Santana's got what, 5 bunt hits? How many times has he tried? Maybe 15. That's still a 333 average. So I'm guessing somewhere, well, Paul Molitor might offer some instruction on bunting. He doesn't want to discourage Santana from trying because his bunting average is better than his swinging average.
And you know, leading off an inning, if you can get on base, you create some havoc.
1 down, and now Nunez with a strike. Single to right on a hit and run his last time up. And now chopped foul, 0-2.
Okay, still getting that last fastball up to 94, 97 pitches right now. ...114 pitches, a season high for Volquez in a game against the Washington Nationals.
And Nunez puts it in play, a slow roller to Merrifield, and Nunez made it close, but he's retired for out number 2.
This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins, LLC. And another 2 quick outs again.
Bauer with an RBI single his last time up.
The only 1-2-3 inning that Volquez has had was in the 3rd inning when he threw only 6 pitches to get 3 outs.
Down and in, ball 1. And now 1-1.
Saw that changeup right there. It's also 100 pitches right now. The changeup has some good movement on it too. It has a sink to it, like that last pitch to Joe.
He threw into Sano in the 1st inning, and it, you know, with bearing inside on a right-handed batter. 2-1 to Bauer.
Volquez came into the ball game making his 10th start, 4 wins, 4 losses, an ERA at 3.79.
3-1, Sano on deck. Bauer takes a walk, and Sano will have a chance with a man aboard.
And a 3rd walk for Volquez, and that brings out the manager, Ned Yost.
Volquez got a couple outs in the 7th and is in position to pick up his 5th win of the year, unless the Twins can come back against the Kansas City bullpen. Luke Hoshaver and Tom Bernansky is giving Sano a clinic on Hoshaver right now. Outs in the 7th. Twins fans, if you can't catch the games on TV, you can stream them live on your mobile device with the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Download the app, take Fox Sports North and Twins baseball with you wherever you go. Your boss won't mind. You'll be able to watch the Twins at work. Get back into your little cubicle or whatever in your office, and you can watch the games. Get the earplugs out.
Sounds like you've done that before. Here's Luke Hochevar making his 21st relief appearance. He missed all of 2014 when he went through Tommy John surgery, but he responded nicely last year with a 3.73 ERA and 49 relief appearances. And it's one of the best bullpens in all of baseball, the Kansas City Royals. And Hochevar, a big part of that.
Full swing and a roller foul to the on deck circle. 1 strike.
Yeah, Hochevar, when he first signed with the Royals back in 2006 as their #1 pick, #1 overall in that draft out of the University of Tennessee, they thought he was going to be that starter that was going to take them to the promised land, and it just didn't pan out as a starter. And since they put him in the bullpen, he has been outstanding.
There's another half swing and a strike. Oh, and 2. Sano struck out swinging in the 1st on a check swing in the 4th. And he got jammed and bounced into a fielder's choice in the 5th. Slow breaking ball got him. And Sano leaves Mauer at first. On to the 8th at 7-4 Kansas City.
Sports update. The Twins series with the defending world champions is a matinee on Wednesday. Join us on Fox Sports North. Our coverage begins at 11:30 Wednesday morning, and then the Twins take on the Royals.
11:30 in the morning?
Our pregame, yeah. 12-10 game tomorrow.
Who scheduled that?
Not you or I, that's for sure.
A day game or after a night game. Brandon Kintzler will come in to pitch to the Royals at least in the 8th inning, with the Royals up by 3 runs, and Ryan Presley gave up 1 run in his 2 innings of work, and now Cuthbert will face Kintzler.
Kintzler worked in last night's ball game through 17 pitches. He gave up a hit, but he did strike out a couple. He's done a good job out of that bullpen.
And pitches up, ball 1.
Kintzler's only given up a couple runs, both of those on the Adam Jones 2-run home run back in here against Baltimore on May 11th. Getting called up on May 7th.
Hopper to short, and Escobar is there on target to Mauer, 1 away. Twins flex plan gives you the flexibility to choose your games and your number of seats. Choose in advance, even the day of the game. So flex plan, go to twinsbaseball.com/flex. Call 833-TWINS to learn more. Twins need to have somebody left in the event they have to close down a lead tomorrow. Presley, 2 innings, probably not going to be available for the game tomorrow. Abad and Rogers would be rested perhaps. Tonkin was used. Rogers, right-handers and left-handers don't sit together. What's up with that?
Well, you saw all 4 of those, and all 4 of them pitched in last night's ball game.
And the lefties are sitting together.
Yeah.
And the righties are down there.
They're in a little different world. You can see always the lefties think they're higher than the righties.
1-2. Dyson walked and scored in the 4th, and then in the 6th against Presley, it just chipped a little soft line drive into left field, and eventually he scored on a 2-out single. And Dyson's called out on strikes with Kinsler shaving the corner.
Kinsler picking up a strikeout.
Fox Tracks presented by Carey.
Fastball down and away, little movement.
Now Escobar with 2 down in the 8th, and boy, wouldn't it be great if Kinsler could pitch a 1-2-3 8th inning, and he could do it on a handful of pitches, so he might be able to handle the 9th. Strike 1. Joaquin Soria warming up for the Royals, having mixed results in his return to Kansas City. And now 0-2.
Kinsler working out of the stretch position. Has a little hesitation right there, and then gets that ball down in the strike zone.
Santana retreats to the gap, still out there on the edge of the track to haul it in, and Kinsler not only has that 1-2-3 inning, but on just a handful of pitches. Trying to steal one late against a really good Kansas City bullpen. Joakim Soria will pitch to the Twins in the 8th.
Yeah, Soria coming out of that bullpen for the 23rd time. 22 and a third innings, given 21 hits. 10 walks, 19 strikeouts.
In the middle of the Twins lineup, Plouffe, Grossman, and Arcia here in the 8th.
Soria, a guy who originally signed by the Dodgers back in 2001. Came up to the big leagues with the Royals in 2007 as a Rule 5 player.
Up and in, ball 1. Plouffe is 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. And a strike, 1-1.
Soria has an assortment of pitches, not the fastball he once had. He's had some elbow surgeries in his career, 31 years old. Two-time All-Star with the Royals back in 2008 and 2010. We've seen that big slow curveball from time to time. Fastball right there at 92. Trevor having a tough time making contact here tonight. Picked up 3 hits in last night's ball game.
1-2 from Soria. Sharply hit on one hop. Merrifield picks it off, throws him out. 1 down. And now Robbie Grossman. With 1 out in the 8th, let's find out what's coming up on the postgame show from Audra Martin.
Well, guys, last night it was Perez that we were talking about, but tonight it's Lorenzo Cain. We're going to talk about how he's been leading the way for the Royals. And we'll talk about the starting pitching for the Twins. They're still in search of consecutive good starts from their starters. And as always, we'll bring you the thoughts from Paul Molitor from the clubhouse. We'll see you after the game on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink.
Thank you, Audra.
Twins in danger of falling to 11-34. Grossman, no hits tonight, but a walk that led to a run. Walk that came after the second out of the 4th inning. 1-0. And now 1-1. Checked his swing and took it up high. 2-1. Soria was the closer. Then when he left Kansas City, Greg Holland was the closer. Now Wade Davis is the closer. And Soria sets him up. Popped up, short center. Cain started back, comes in, makes the catch, out number 2.
Yeah, 202 career saves for Soria in his career, most of them coming in a Royals uniform. Last year, started the season with the Tigers, ended it with the Pirates, had 24 saves combined.
Arcia has reached all 3 times. A double to right, hit by a pitch, and a single to right. Checked his swing up high. And 2-0. If it's possible to be a part-time player and yet be streaky, I think that's how you'd have to describe Arcia, at least this year. When he's had a chance to play, there have been bursts of 3 games maybe where he looks like he's on the ball and gets the batting average up above 250. And then similarly, those cold stretches that last longer than 3 games, and that's why coming into the game, hitting just 217, a couple of hits has it up, his batting average up to 235.
Yeah, 85 at bats right now, 20 hits.
2-2. Now his average is 235, and that's not much. But believe it or not, that's higher than the team batting average coming into the game at 233.
Yeah, only the Houston Astros have a lower team batting average at 229.
2-2 to Arcia.
There's that slow curveball.
71 miles per hour. And that's the third out. Arcia strikes out, and Soria has a 1-2-3-8. Twins lost last night 10-4 at 7-4 Kansas City tonight as we go to the ninth inning. And Whit Merrifield will lead things off against Kinsler, with Fernando Abad warming up in the bullpen. And the first pitch cracked over the third base bag. And Merrifield will have his third double of the series if he will settle for two. And he takes a big turn and will settle for that leadoff double. That's exactly what he did in the third inning.
Merrifield picking up another double, as you mentioned, his second of the ball game. In the third inning, Kinsler only threw a couple handfuls of pitches in that first inning of relief. Ball left pretty much right there, and he hit it into that corner. Grossman has to get it back in. And a 13th hit for the Royals, who had 17 last night.
Well, we've seen him do it twice today, so it's important to point out for kids, coaches want you to do exactly what Merrifield did, figuring he had a double, but he ran hard through second base and looked to see if there was an opportunity maybe to go to third. He decided not to, but you know, for coaches who coach base running, I don't think there's anything that bothers them more than seeing a player cruise into second base. You can go ahead and run hard to second base just like you should to first, and then see what happens. See whether there's an extra base there for you to take. 1-1.
Yeah, there might be a bobble as far as a cutoff man.
Yeah.
A lot of things might happen.
You say running a ball out, and we talk so much about it on plays to first base, but boy, managers don't like to see guys just kind of gliding into second base, because who knows, you might have a chance to go to third. 1-2 to Kane, a 4-hit night, including an RBI single in the 6th to make it a 7-4 game. And Kinsler strikes him out with a sinker down and in.
Down and in, yep. Good pitch right there. Kinsler picking up his second strikeout. Said You know, you see Kane upset, but watch this ball down and in. See, they can't extend their arms. See how that ties them up right there? Paul Molitor, good job by Brandon Kinsler. Gave up 1 hit in an inning and a third as he leaves.
And Abad will come in to pitch to Hosmer. He's just 1 for 9 with a double play and 5 strikeouts, and Abad will try to get him here in the 9th inning tonight.
Abad worked in last night's ball game, 1 shutout inning. He had a couple strikeouts through 17 pitches. Abad brought in here to face Hosmer because left-handers are 0 for 18 against Abad so far this year. Abad in his first season, you mentioned last night, he's been a nice surprise for the Twins. He signed as a minor league contract. Made the club out of spring training last couple seasons with the Oakland A's. He's also pitched for the Astros and the Nationals.
And Hosmer hitting just 160 against lefties. As valuable as he's been the best reliever in the Twins bullpen this year. That 0 for 18 against left-handers is what will make him, I suspect, quite a marketable property before the trade deadline. Missing inside with a breaking ball.
Well, we've seen the fastball 92-93. We see the last pitch to the curveball. He'll change speeds on that, and then a very, very good changeup.
Breaking ball hits the corner, 1-1.
And he'll throw that baby at any time, any count.
And now fouled away, 1-2. It's testament to the balance of this Kansas City lineup. Alex Gordon hasn't played in this series. Mike Moustakas hasn't. Hosmer has hardly done anything with 1 for 9, a double play, and 5 strikeouts. Yet they scored 10 runs last night, 7 runs on 13 hits tonight. 1-2. And now 2-2.
Well, you know what helps too? They bring up young kids that have 6 or 7 years in the minor leagues because they can't get to the big leagues because of the Moustakases and the Hosmers and the Gordons, guys like that. Like Merrifield, 7 seasons in the minor leagues, but very good minor league numbers. So you have to wait your turn, more or less.
2-2. Fouled back. You're absolutely right, but consider that you're saying that about the Kansas City Royals and how that obviously was not the case for most of 30 years, where they have stockpiled talent to the point where you really have to earn your way to the big leagues, and then you get that chance, you are expected to produce.
Well, it started, you know, when that Davis, remember in that trade that brought Davis over from Tampa Bay, you know, James Shields. And then you have the trade that they traded Zach Greinke and got Escobar and Kane. So that all started around 2010, 2011.
Gave up an established great pitcher in Greinke and what they thought was an emerging young player in Will Myers. Full count to Hosmer. Slow breaking ball, hammered foul. There has been one walk. One left-handed batter walked against Abad. He's the only left-handed batter to reach against Abad. 5 times Abad has picked up a strikeout against a lefty. Another 3-2 to Hosmer. And Hosmer will be retired. Abad's mastery against lefties continues. On the play, Merrifield goes to third.
Yeah, good breaking ball, good location. Hosmer just hits it to Nunez at second.
Sad reality is the Twins are out of the race, and I'm sure Terry Ryan will be looking eventually, if not already, at moving players to maybe get something in return, and Abad's effectiveness against lefties would be quite desirable, I would think. Here is Morales hitting from his preferred side this year. Off the end of the bat, foul. As a right-handed batter, he's doing very well, and not well at all as a left-handed batter.
And of course, most of his at-bats coming as a left-handed hitter.
Up and away, 1-1.
42 right-handed at-bats, 14 hits. As we showed you, 2 of the 5 home runs coming from this side of the plate.
That's to center. And it hangs in the air for Santana to streak in and make a running catch. So the Twins pitch around the leadoff double. Royals lead by 3, and the Twins are due to send up Escobar, Centeno, and Santana. Santana in the 4th inning. They lead by 3. Let's check out what's next. Brought to you by CenturyLink. Yeah, they scheduled a day game after a night game. And Tyler Duffy will start for the Twins. Dylan G going for the Kansas City Royals.
Hopefully it's Tyler Duffy that'll get the second win as a Twin starter against Dylan D, who's Basically taking the place in a rotation for Chris Young, who's on a disabled list. And here's the closer for the Kansas City Royals, Wade Davis. Made the All-Star team last year for the first time. When Greg Holland went down, they relied on Davis to take over that closer role, and my goodness, he'd do a great job. Last year, in 69 appearances out of the bullpen, 67 in the third innings, gave up only 33 hits, struck out 78, and saved 17 ball games, and was huge in the World Series and postseason.
Escobar threatens to bunt. He takes up high, ball one. Dozier is in the on deck circle. He would hit for Centeno. And a strike, 1-1.
Royals have 12 saves out of their bullpen. Davis has 11 of the 12. Soria has the other one. 15 2/3 innings so far this year for Davis, making his 17th appearance. Only 8 hits allowed, a couple walks. Excuse me, 7 walks, 15 strikeouts.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Remember, Davis was kind of a throw-in too in that trade when they got James Shields in the Meyer trade.
A struggling starting pitcher. And the Royals needed starting pitching. But very quickly they transformed Davis to a middle of the road starting pitcher into one of the best relief pitchers in the game.
Yeah, he actually, when he came over in 2013, they put him in a rotation. It didn't work out. 8 and 11 ERA over 5.
And now 3-2. Escobar with 2 singles. Get into a double play his last time up.
And Davis has come up with that cut fastball that he has very good control of.
And a drive to center field. A sharp base hit. And Escobar will dig for second. Here's the throw from Kane. It's a leadoff double for Eduardo Escobar.
Escobar picking up 2 hits in last night's ball game in his return from the disabled list. Here picks up his 3rd hit of the ball game.
Escobar dealing with a jammed finger, but he appears to be okay.
Well, there's the cutter right here, but it just kind of spun, and Escobar hitting it a little bit toward right center. Kane has to get it, and Escobar slides in safely in the second.
Davis doesn't give up many hits. He rarely gives up an extra base hit. And the Twins start the 9th with a double. Here's Brian Dozier. Takes a strike on the outside corner. Dozier held out of the lineup and had held out of the ball game last night. Same thing today, working with Tom Bernansky, trying to get his hitting mechanics back in line. Down and away, 1-1.
And I think the biggest key is just keep that left shoulder in and try to let that ball get a little bit deeper into the strike zone. You're only talking a split second, so you don't fly open.
And that split second allows you to either commit or not commit to a pitch too.
Right.
And a foul back. That ball got in on the trademark of the bat a little bit. Santana on deck. And lifted foul over the Twins dugout. Centeno had gone 0 for 3. So the Twins will go with Dozier, then Santana. Top of the lineup after that, if the Twins can keep the line moving here.
And of course, for Brian Dozier, his first pinch hitting appearance.
It's up the line, and it'll trickle foul. Dozier lunged after the pitch, but made contact to keep the at-bat alive.
I think the biggest thing for Brian Dozier, what he's going through right now, is don't listen to a lot of people. Just listen to your pitching coach and work hard with
hitting
him.
coach.
I mean, hitting coach. And, you know, sometimes, you know, everybody will throw an opinion in when you're struggling. And trust yourself and enjoy the game. And sometimes it's frustrating.
Foul back.
Good swing there.
A little over a week ago, Davis blew a save against the Braves. Gave up a couple of runs in that game, something he doesn't do very often. 1-2 again to Brian Dozier. Off the plate, 2-2.
Good take. Bruno is always also talking about the head. When your head doesn't move, you can see the flight of the ball better rather than when your eyes move and you open up quickly.
Three and two. Davis with 7 walks in 15 2/3 innings. He's also hit a couple of batters. And Dozier worked the count from 1-2 to take a walk to fill first base.
That's a good at-bat right there for Brian Dozier. He fought off some pitches. He laid off of that last one. That was pretty close, but it was outside.
And now Santana will bat. First and second, nobody out. Santana's 0 for 2. Tried to bunt his way aboard and popped it up to Volquez in the 7th. Trying to apply some heat to Wade Davis here in the bottom of the 9th. In the dirt, dug out by Perez. Santana takes a strike. Two and one. 18 pitches thrown by Davis, and he does not have an out yet.
Remember, as Danny Santana got the big 2-run double against the Toronto Blue Jays on Saturday. And against Gavin Floyd.
Swing and a miss.
And stay off that high cutter, up and in.
Fastball's at 95, the cutter at 91. Two and two to Danny Santana. And he fought off a 2-strike pitch. We talked about Dozier doing that.
Cutter inside.
So important for Santana to get aboard without making it out. If he's the tying run and his speed's on the bases, that would change things dramatically. And now 3 and 2 to Santana. Perez looking in the dugout. Full count to Danny Santana. Ball 4, and they're loaded up for Nunez. Nobody out, and Dave Island to the mound to talk to Wade Davis. 22 pitches and no outs. And Santana and his speed are aboard. Nunez 1 for 4 here in the 5th inning, and a base hit, but the only win for the Twins came when Nunez cranked a 3-run home run in the 8th.
I mentioned Danny Santana's double that tied it, and then Nunez hit the big 3-run home run to allow the Twins to beat the Blue Jays 5-3.
Nunez just 1 for 4, but he put the ball in play all 4 times. Davis relying very heavily on strikeouts. And Nunez, one of maybe the toughest guy in the Twins lineup to strike out. Outside, ball 1. Swing and a miss at 96. 1-1. Escobar third, Dozier at second, and maybe the fastest guy on the team, Santana at first. Swing and a miss again at 96. Davis has been struggling with the control of his breaking ball, and now he's gone after Nunez with 2 heaters.
Yeah, rearing back and challenging Nunez. See the numbers Davis as a starter and what he's been able to do as a reliever. Outstanding.
One and 2. Breaking ball got him. 2 fastballs at 96, and then a big breaker for strike 3.
And a hard breaker that went straight down. Good tight curveball right there, and Nunez swings through it.
Now Mauer. 1 for 3 with a walk. 3 hits in the ball game last night. Down and in, ball 1.
Mauer has good numbers against Wade Davis. 6 hits and 17 at bats and 3 doubles. He's also walked 4 times.
Strike on the outside corner. Remember in the earlier at bats, the right fielder Paulo Orlando was playing in front of the playball.org sign in right center because of the situation and Santana's speed. They don't dare shift him quite that much. So there's a little more room in right center field. Tapper right side foul. 1 and 2. Twins have been behind all night long since the 2nd inning when the Royals scored a couple in the top of the inning. Trying to at least tie it up here in the 9th.
If you're thinking home run, Joe Mauer has 3 grand slams. His last one coming in Kansas City.
Swung on and missed, and Mauer strikes out. Out number 2. And now Sano.
Well, a fastball away at 96. Joe swinging through it.
Sano's had a tough game with 3 strikeouts. And he got jammed the one time he put the ball in play in the 5th inning and nearly bounced into a double play. Sano walked a couple of times. So hitless in the series, looking for one of his biggest hits of the season. Swing and a miss at 96.
And that's what you would like to see Sano do more of, just ladder fly. Well, if you could catch up to one of those, where would that ball end up? Might knock his picture off the scoreboard.
One strike to Sano. Blast to center field, but Kane is there. And Sano hit it off the end of the bat. And the Twins load the bases, but then Davis goes to work and strikes out Nunez, Mauer, and Sano. And the Royals now have won all 5 meetings between the 2 teams. Twins fall to 11 wins now and 34 losses on the season, Anthony.
Another tough loss to the Royals, who make it 5 in a row against the Twins. We'll show you how they jumped on another Minnesota starter early in the game. We'll preview game 3 of the series, and we'll hear from the manager, Paul Molitor. It's all coming up on Twins Live, presented by CenturyLink.